Hey everybody, Fisherman here. Welcome to the video. This is Fisher Log number 124. My focus for maintenance this week was on this top row mostly. I wanted to get it all sorted and ready for breeding projects. And the main thing was this aquarium here. This was the home for the ultra deep underground filter, and it had to come out because of various issues with chemistry and stuff, and it was a massive pain to get out of there. It was a big filter. It was full of gravel and water, and I didn't want to dump all that into the fish tank. It weighed about 35 pounds, I think, and like I said, it was just awkward to get it out, and that alone is enough reason for me to never want to build another one of those. Once, as a trial, was fine. After that, it just wasn't worth it anymore. These guys are happy now. I took a fair amount of the media that was in the underground filter, put it into a box filter, and the tank's nice and stable. And another nice thing about it is there's an awful lot more room in there now, which is good. So one of the things I'm thinking about is, you remember I put the experiment together for undergravel versus box filters on the other side of the fish room, which we'll get to in a little bit. Well, starting to lean a little bit towards box filters. I know they're both good filters, they're great systems, but for me it just seems a little bit more likely that I'm heading that way. I'm going to let it obviously run for considerably longer than this. We're going to see if there's any difference, especially with that other system. It's still way too new for any real decisions on it, but like I said, I'm just slightly leaning towards that at this point. Angels are doing great. Obviously not big enough yet, but they're growing, and I want to use this upper rack here for breeding angels. So I'm going to set up pairs in here and heat up the tanks a little bit more. These guys, the leopard danios, I just love the colors that are coming out in these guys. As you can see, they have tons of energy. They are well, way more than I expected, so I'm very happy with them. And we're going to keep, growing them out and breeding more of them, and we'll see how it all goes in the end. This is now empty, so it is ready for new fish. I moved all the fish out to a client's tank except the small Cory, the offspring of the other Corys that I got. So I put him in with them, and hopefully we'll get some breeding out of them again. They never really spawned more than that one time, but there's always hope. So I've thinned out the plants on this top row as well. I want to make access a little bit easier, and I think I've accomplished that, so that's great. And these guys are just doing lovely. These are Hat Borleri, of course, and their colors are coming out really nicely, and I do need to think about, of course, getting them a bigger tank, because they're not anywhere near their full size yet. Killies are doing great. I still haven't, of course, thinned them out. I do need to get rid of some of the Java moss in there, and of course, divide them up and put some up in the paludarium, but not yet. The OB zebra fry, as you can see, are doing quite well. There's nothing really new about them at the moment. These two tanks are doing just fine. It's just a matter now of, keeping them going. I've done a fair amount of work on my live food cultures. I took 6 of them, the ones in the middle there, and did a complete water change on them. Got some of the live organisms in there and got them into the new water, some fresh hay, just general maintenance stuff. And there's a bit more I want to do on that before winter hits, and I'm going to probably start doing that soon because it is near the end of October. One of the Venus flytraps has passed. The other one's hanging in there, so I do want to do some work on that while it's still a possibility of saving it. I haven't seen them at all offer for sale ever since, I found that one batch. So hopefully it will recover. And everything else in here is perfectly fine, except I don't know what's going on with this lily. It just doesn't want to grow. It's, I think, reseeding, which is really bizarre. It has never happened before, so I'm going to pull this apart probably in the next week or two and have a look and see what's going on. I mean, there's no reason for it not to grow, but it isn't, so we'll have to have a check into that and see. Speaking of lilies, I picked up this. It was in our local grocery store. It's a canna lily, and hopefully it'll do well. I'm not sure how well it's going to being really wet because it says moderate on the little label on the back of it. But we'll give it a try. I want to see if it is something that will be, well, something I can use in aquariums. And as you can see, the lemon geranium is growing and growing and growing. I still need to take some slips off of that and, of course, get them acclimated to water. But, again, that'll be coming up. These guys are just a happy little family of goldfish. I mean, I just don't want to do anything with them. I'm just quite happy to leave them do their thing. They're always very happy to see me, which is really nice. These guys are starting to look more and more pregnant. I'm happy about that. Of course, there's quite a bit of recovery that needs to happen in that tank since the air pump died, but it will get there. So this tank and the tank next door are part of the experiment for underground filter and box filter going to high humidity planters. And as you can see, there's not really that much of a difference, if any, between the two tanks. They're both very active. They're both happy. I don't do any more maintenance on one than the other. For this sort of setup, I don't think there's really going to be much of a difference between a box filter and an underground filter. They are eventually both going to require maintenance. So I'm going to flip around to the back side here now. And as you can see, there's nowhere near time yet for these to be maintained. The high humidity planters might need a little bit of trim, but they're both looking fine. This one's newer, remember, because I had just set it up when I set this experiment up. But as you can see, the box filter is perfectly fine as well. The fish are very happy and healthy in both of them. So box filters are something I'm more interested in when it comes to not going to high humidity planters, just as a box filter on an aquarium has its filtration system. So something I need to think about. It's something, like I said, I'm leaning towards, but it'll take time before I'm sure which way I want to go with that. So I pulled Dad out of here after he killed Mom, and I'm hoping that there's going to be some more fry show up. At the very least, now that the rice fish and guppies are out of here, the red crystal shrimp should hopefully end up with more of their offspring surviving. I've only still had the one that I've noticed. I still record a fair amount of the tank, just in case I spot something, just like the fry from the rice fish, but so far, nothing. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. So this is where Dad is. I put him over here. This is my general tank I usually keep fish in when I'm going to say, well, they're going to go out to clients before they do so. Except that male guppy, he's going to stay here. I like him, and he's going to get a harem. You're going to notice as this little clip proceeds, he seems very intent on getting over into this tank, which is obvious because, well, there's a whole pile of females and everything else in here. So I notice there's a few undesirable fry that are growing up in here that I'm going to pull out. Not to be unexpected when you breed guppies in general, for starters, but also because they were outside in the pond. I do want to leave them a little bit longer, but they need to be culled. So these are obviously the adult zebra danios. Very happy with this group. They're going to be set up for breeding, of course, very soon, and we'll get some more fry going. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and leave lots of comments, of course, and bye for now.